Good morning, everyone. This is Tammy Eisenreich, and I'm a parent partner for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And I'm super happy to have Tom Weisenbach from the Megan Weisenbach Foundation with us this morning to share a little bit about his organization. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Tammy. I appreciate the opportunity. Always great to speak to others who have passion for helping families.
Well, that I do. And I would love to share with families about, tell us a little bit about how, I guess Megan's your daughter. How did you guys come to be and where your passion is, where your main goal for helping
families? So we're a family-run, pretty much volunteer-based organization. Have 9-member board of directors. We're all volunteer. We all just have passion trying to help folks out. But our foundation was created in memory of our daughter Megan, who passed away in 2012 at the age of 12, and she had a rare genetic disorder called mucopolysaccharidosis Sanfilippo type A, so MPS. And we've met several MPS families from Ohio over the years, going to different MPS conferences. We have get-togethers with other not-for-profits who all seem to have a connection back to MPS. So we have several of them in the Hilliard, Ohio area, as well as oh my goodness, close to Eldora Speedway, because I talked to some of the folks about that. But again, our daughter Megan had a disorder. It's kind of a mean one, right? They kind of call it like Lou Gehrig disease for children. It took away her ability to really all her mobility first, and then it attacked her organs. But MPS, when we were diagnosed at the age of 4, there was no treatment, no cure. So we knew what we were facing ahead. My wife's a nurse, thank goodness. I don't know if it's good or bad, but she understood probably more than I did. But we sat down with our other 2 daughters, who were 8 and 12 at the time, and said, hey, this is what's going on with Megan, and we're not going to have her forever. But as long as we have her, we're going to make memories. And that was our big, as a family, we focused on not saying why us or damn you, God. It was why, let's just make memories. Because in the end of the day, the disease can take Megan away from us, but they can't take the memories away from us. And so we decided to go down that road, and we're very had some great support from family members and friends over the years. And then as Megan started to digress, she lost her ability to. She never progressed, probably past maybe a mental capacity of a 2-year-old. So she never was potty trained. We ended up with a feeding tube the last probably 5 years, was in a wheelchair the last 5 years. But again, what we experienced as a family led us probably to the foundation. And Tammy, what I mean by that is, when Megan passed, not going to lie, we had $100,000 in medical bills on our credit cards. Took a home equity line of credit so we could pay for medical bills. Insurance did not cover everything. Insurance didn't cover a lot of things. And so we knew that there was other families out there just like us trying to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. How do we provide for our kids and provide a quality of life best we can with what we're dealing with? And whether it's cancer, whether it's, whatever it may be, there's a lot of challenges for us out there. So we decided as a family to create our foundation, a 501c3. We have an annual fundraiser. All the money we raise gets pushed right back out to families who have kids with special needs to help with quality of life items. It doesn't have to be medical. Obviously, we get a lot of medical. Can you help us with medical bills? Can you help us with supplies? Can you help us with the cost of a wheelchair? And we get all that, and so we do the best we can. But it doesn't have to be medical. It can be something that involves quality of life. It is amazing how many iPads. I know you guys do a lot of iPads with the Apple, and we get the Apple gift card for them so they can do ProLogic. I can't remember the name of it, but again, we've probably done 25, 26 of those this year alone, because it's a great communication device and it's helping kids learn how to communicate, which helps with quality of life. So we started out our first year with a golf outing because I love golf. And So, hey, let's just throw a golf outing together. And those are a lot of work, we found out. But also golf outings over the years have really digressed, right? There's a lot of organizations put a lot of effort into it. You don't make a lot of money. But we also sat down as a board after our first year and said, how was it? It was great. But if you don't play golf, why would you contribute? So we're like, well, wait a second, we're missing a huge segment of our family and friends who might want to support the foundation. So Megan's Mulligans turned into the second year, Megan's Mega Weekend. And for Saturday, Friday night, we have Megan's Reunion, which is a big party. Honestly, it's just a huge party. We have it at a great, the Atrium, a great facility in Indianapolis. And we have, you know what, the first 3 years we had live bands. It was awesome. We actually connected with high school students who went to school with my daughter, and they had their own band and their own music, and they played cover tunes, and they were phenomenal. Then they all went off to college, and I'm like, oh, now what? And so we ended up going with a DJ. But I would say that we have live music. We have obviously a huge silent auction. I'm very fortunate that between the board members and myself, we have a lot of great contacts in the sports world. So we've been able to get great tickets and autographed items for from all different types of, whether it's hockey, racing, basketball, football, baseball, doesn't matter. Been very effective. And then we also, you know, in Indiana, we love playing euchre. So we had a euchre tournament that goes on. 3 nurses that work with my wife, the local hospital. We have a group that those guys play euchre every Friday night, and there's about 16 of them. So they volunteered to run the euchre tournament for us. Great, because I won't have time to do that. Euchre tournament. And it's, you know, it doesn't make us a whole lot of money, but it keeps people engaged and excited. You know, and I'll say that we probably do every type of Catholic fundraiser, because I'm a Catholic. Other than bingo, we do pull tabs, we'll do tip boards. I'll do all of it in that night. And you know, we start at 6 o'clock, we ended at 10:30, and every year the event has been incredible. Obviously, during 08, 09, that was a time when we had just launched it, the foundations. That was some tough times when we just launched it. But the last years, we just see our trend going back up. Obviously, during COVID, we couldn't do it for 2 years, but this past July, we had a record number, almost 300 people Friday night, and we raised probably about $30,000. So that was a good night for us. And then we go right back the next day, Friday, and we have a golf, or Saturday, and we have a golf outing. And you know, I was worried. My passion again. The first year we did it, we had 100 and some golfers, filled up the whole course. And there for about, I'd say in 2017, 2018, 2019, we were down to about 58, 60 golfers. And again, then you really got to say, is it worth it? And I had board members saying no. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to do it anyways, because I love it. And, you know, we switched to a new course and got some new younger people involved. And I will say that we got some younger folks involved through my daughters. And man, it took off from there. And this past year, we were back up to 92 golfers. Times have changed. I mean, you don't have sponsorship for golf outings like you used to, but the golfers have a great time. We make sure that we're charging $145, but we make sure they go home happy. They get a great goodie bag. I'm all about making sure the golfer goes home happy. Then they don't remember what they paid, right? I mean, that's the big thing. I played enough charity golf tournaments and spent a lot of money to play, and I kind of feel like I could have played that course for half that and had the same experience. So we focus on value. And that's really the only thing, that's the only fundraising we do all year is through our annual event in July. Now we have a handful of people that have started to contribute every month directly through their work, which is nice. Chase Bank, if you work for Chase Bank, they have matching. So we have 3 people that work at Chase Bank that put in $20 a month, but really it's 40. And, you know, so now it's $480 per year for each person. It's 3 people. It's almost $1,500. You know what? That helps a couple families right there. So we do have a committee. We call them the Family Support Committee, because as you and I had talked, Tammy and I've, you know, we kind of met, I think, through a couple of families there in the Toledo area who have reached out to us. We have a family support application on our website that they can submit online. I get that, I look it over, and then we forward it to our committee. And the committee reviews and evaluates and discusses, hey, can we afford this application? What type of what can we support them with? And then they also talk about how much. And I will say that's the challenging thing. We get the family support application doesn't have a max on it, and maybe I need to put a max on it. The board and I have talked about that at great length. We don't say there's a max. We say, tell us if you, the very last line, go to the very bottom of that. Right now, Tammy's sharing the screen with everybody. How did you hear about us? Because I really always am curious, how do you hear about us? Facebook, word of mouth from another family, through your therapy center that you all work with, who knows? But what's your current need? And be as specific as possible. That's important for us. We need to know what your need is. And we're not saying that, it's all need-based. It's not need-based. It's tell us what you need. Let us, through our contacts, maybe we have a way to help you get diapers. Like, again, Megan was never potty trained. We were spending $300 a month buying 10 of diapers from a local medical supply store. Then I found them online through some group, again, a medical supply online group out of New York. It was $12 cheaper a case. Well, we were buying 5 cases a month. Free shipping, hell yeah, I'll save the money. So again, we try to use our contacts that we might have throughout our little community that we all have as a families that have kids with special needs. But that's important for us to know what your needs are. And then from there, we try to evaluate it. I will say we typically don't go, we've never supported a family with huge amounts. And we get requests for $5,000, $7,000, $12,000. I know. Hello, folks. We're a small family group. We like our motto, our board of directors has always said, we don't want to help 10 families with $10,000 or $1,000. Let's help 100 families with that kind of money. And we want to help more families than we do bragging about how big of a contribution we made to somebody's cause. So a lot of our family support requests, we also, though, look for you as a family to tell us if you're asking for $1,500, what are you going to put in? Do you have any skin in the game, right? Because, we get a lot of requests. We're going to have over 100 probably by, I think as of yesterday, we're at 98 requests for the year. That's a record high for us. I spend all my evenings and weekends going through family support applications. Then I ask our committee to review and come back to me with what we can do. But it is interesting when people ask for large amounts, I always respond to them, our committee is reviewing it, but what are you going to put in? And I only say that because I feel like our board has talked at great length. We feel that the family needs to have some skin in the game. And I know some people are saying, hey, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I can't do anything. Again, be as specific as you can with what your needs are. That's what the question is. But we really do like to see the family commit to some level of support to their request as well. Don't come to me with your hand out asking to pay everything, because we're not going to pay everything. We do a lot in that $500 to $800 range, a lot. But that's how we can help 90-some families so far this year. If somebody asks for $10,000, guess what? We're only going to be able to help a handful of families, and that's not what we want. And so again, I'm not saying there's a limit. Tell us what your needs are. We'll evaluate it. And it's also, where are we at with cash? Right at the end of the day, what do we have available in the bank? And if you hit us up in typically February, March, April, May, we're leading up to our next fundraiser. So we don't believe in sitting on money. We believe on pushing it right out the door to help families out. So we don't have a huge stockpile in the spring. We typically have more, obviously, after the fundraising event. But, we're a 501c3. We really encourage people to take advantage of the tax donation write-off on their taxes. But we try to do the best we can to help as many families as we can. But it goes back to quality of life. It does not have to be medical.
Okay. Well, you have the application on your website, and then you also have the paper one. So are you,
Yep.
is that so people can do either or?
Yeah, so
Okay.
some people literally like to print it off and fill it out and then mail it to us, which they can, or email it to us. The online, that's the paper one they can print off. It's very simple. And again, that's what some people prefer to do. And they can email it to us, mail it to us, doesn't matter. The online one's really, really simple, and it's the same questions. And it's truly, I will say, date of birth. And I know that we have a couple people join us today that have maybe a son or daughter that's no longer a quote unquote child. They're not a teenager, but they're in their 20s, and that's fine. We've helped individuals out that are in their 20s because mom and dad is still trying to care for that individual, and they're trying to work life. So again, we don't mind that at all. We encourage that. But again, it's all volunteers. And Tammy, when you get 100 requests and I got to look at them, then I share them with our committee, and I need them to look at them. And there's 3 people on the committee, and they all need to kind of get their input together. It might be a couple of weeks before we get back to you, just because we all have normal jobs to pay the bills. Not United Airlines flying all over the globe, but again, we're busy, but we will get back to you hopefully within a week or two, and let you know that the committee's reviewed your application and this is what we can offer. And then we simply say, if you're willing to accept what we're offering, Tammy, that's where, if you go back to the pictures on the website, that's where we simply ask a family, for anybody that's watching and joining us today, can we have a couple pictures of your son or daughter utilizing whatever we helped with, so we can share it on our website. And we have these same photos in a slideshow, along with a lot of pictures of Megan, because Megan was our wonderful little gift from heaven. So we do a slideshow during the Friday night fundraiser, and it's just a continuous slideshow. But obviously, when you're out there asking people to financially give you money, it helps to show them where their dollars will go. And so all those smiles and all those pictures that we have sure do help us continue to generate the money every year, so we can continue to do what we do.
Okay, so let's talk restrictions. Like, it doesn't look like you're looking for documentation for proof of income. You're not.
Nope.
Let's go back. I guess you said age there isn't like an age cap per se. Diagnosis isn't specific. Do you pay directly to families, or do you want it to be?
No. So our when we set this up, we met with my attorney and our family accountant, and the 2 things they both highly recommended is you never pay money directly to families. It has to go to the service provider, or if someone needs, again, an Apple gift card and the iPad. Let's just say that for an example, because I know you guys do a lot of that too. So we do from Amazon Foundation. So a small percentage of every order goes back to our own foundation. Thank you if you're going to add this to your list. But we actually will order the iPad screen protector, a couple of them, and then also a hard shell case, or the rubber case that they have to protect them. We all have our kids, and we've all seen them. They probably don't. They might drop that iPad once or twice, or even throw it once or twice. So we try to get that nice protective case, the screen protector, the iPad. We have that shipped directly to the family's home. And then we get the Apple gift card from Kroger, because we get, obviously, again, it's nice to be able to support. Kroger supports us, so we try to always help support them. But we get the Apple gift card, and then a lot of times we'll send the Apple gift card to the therapist they're working with at the therapy center, because we can't afford to send it to the family and then the family not know how to download it or upload the app and use that gift card. We do not want to see a family request that, I call it the iPad bundle. Don't request that bundle and then not use it, right? Because then it's wasted money. We wasted money, could have helped another family out. So we learn the hard way, right? We had a couple families get it and not use it, and their therapist would say, "Did you ever get that form?" And said, "Yeah, 9 months ago." Oh, they still say they don't have one. No, yeah, they do. So the therapist started giving us some really good feedback saying, Tom, listen, you can have Amazon ship everything to them or to us, get us the Apple gift card. We'll download the app for them and make sure they know how to use that app. So their son or daughter can use it as a communication device. They have it typically at the therapy center, but they don't have one for home. And that's what we're trying to work with. So we have learned probably the hard way, Tammy. There are some people that will submit family support applications that are a scam. And we've probably all been down that road before, sad to say, but we've been taken advantage of. And so we do not ever send money directly to a family. It goes to the service provider, or if it's now we've had some folks wheelchairs, for example. Megan had a growth spurt about a year after she got her first wheelchair. Then she had a growth spurt about almost 4 inches. And she wasn't able to walk, but now her torso didn't fit the wheelchair that we had at all, and her scoliosis got a lot worse. So we needed a new wheelchair. And insurance said, sorry, you're only allowed one every 5 years. Okay, so we work with the local children's hospital, Riley Children's Hospital. We go through they actually to fit her body perfectly, which was great. Working in motorsports, I knew that's exactly what she needed because it literally did fit her spine and body perfectly. But that cost $8,000 out of pocket, the new wheelchair. It wasn't motorized, it reclined, yes, but it $8,000. Again, back to that credit card. Hey, not a great way to do it, but it's the only way we could. We didn't have cash on hand, so we lived on credit cards. But we've had several requests for help with wheelchairs, and that's where we always go back and say, well, Tammy, what are you willing? What's the family able to support this? Right? You got to put a little skin in the game. And then if we can do, let's just say it's $1,000, we say that we'll pay $1,000 towards your bill. So when you get the other $7,000, have the hospital, have the wheelchair distributor send us an invoice. We'll call them and pay the invoice. We don't send money in advance and hope they get the balance. When they get down to where they only owe whatever's approved, say it's $1,000, then we simply ask them to send us an invoice. And we always need to have invoice. Again, the main is the receipt. Anytime I push money out of the checking account, our accountant has to have a receipt to go with that family support application. So as long as we do that, life is good. So again, but we've helped with some big ticket items. We had a family down in Kentucky that was trying to put a ramp in their garage. They got the wheelchair for their daughter, but they had a garage with 4 steps up into the house. And they said, what do we do? And I said, well, we had the same situation. We first put a ramp in. And then when we got Megan's second wheelchair, it was heavier. And my mother-in-law was kind of the caregiver. She couldn't push her up the ramp anymore. So we then had to get a lift, one of the lifts in our garage. I had 2 friends from our church. One Sunday came over and they designed, and we went to Lowe's and bought the lumber, and they came back and they built a ramp for us. And it had a handrail on it on both sides so that everybody else walking down had something to hold on to. But again, we've had a family out of Kentucky said, what do we do? And so I said, listen, I can probably help somebody design the ramp for you. And then you go buy the lumber. You got to find somebody that knows how to install it. And they did. They found it through their church. But that was another one where they needed, it was probably $1,800 in supplies. And we did half, they did half. And they were tickled to death, and we still stay in communication. They've even come up for the fundraiser. We invite families. If you go to the website, yes, very important families, because that's what these families are. They're important to us. And we find sponsors who are willing to help pay for their way to come to our fundraiser. And we take care of gas cards and hotel at the Hampton Inn down the street. We give them some meals, and they can come to the fundraiser Friday night. They can come play golf on Saturday, or we'll get them tickets to the Children's Museum, the zoo, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, whatever they want to go on Saturday, we take care of that as well. So again, it's families out best we can.
It sounds like you have a relationship with your families, which is one of the things I try to share with, parents that are coming to me asking for help. I mean, creeping out your funding organization, like checking out that, like you said, your fundraisers in July. So being aware of that. How do you fundraise? You see that on your website, the family, your Facebook
Sure.
pages as well. Can families reapply? Like, let's say someone's gotten funding this year. Would it be appropriate for them to reapply, or is that something you guys try to do one and done, or every
Well,
situation?
I'd say that because we've got every year, especially this year, again, we're 92 family support applications. It's you like to kind of continue to spread that out. You don't want to say no, but we've only had 2 families come back and request money again. One of them was actually just needing to get another app on their iPad. Tammy, was actually a different one. It was only a $50 app. So we did provide them another $50 Apple gift card, and we sent it directly to their occupational therapist, who then downloaded it. The other one, we actually asking for quite a bit of money again, and we'd already supported them once, just about 18 months earlier. And so we said, tell you what, let's try to find somebody else that can help you. And so really just through our community that we all have, we reached a few others and said, hey, this is a family we helped once. They need some more, because they also had 2 children, a daughter and a son, that both had illnesses and challenges. And we found another not-for-profit who was willing to take care of everything they needed for the second request. So I won't say no, but I'd like to help as many families as we can. And I'm sorry, I think if we get into saying you can come back as often as you want, then a lot of people, I'll hate to say this, but take the easy way out and just keep coming back to us asking for financial help.
Yeah.
That's not really what we want to try to do.
Yeah. Well, you're a great resource for families. Maybe having them think outside of the box a little bit, like you help, with the ramp. I think families just don't know. Sometimes they're in the midst of it and they just know they need it, and they're just consumed with that. Where being able to have a parent that gets it, like you do, you understand, and you're able to think outside of the box a little bit and help them. So I think you're definitely.
Yeah, there's another family from Ohio that we've become very close with. They're at Maria Stein, I think is where they're from, a smaller farming community. I know the husband works at one of the Honda facilities over in Ohio, and then they also farm. They've also said, hey, he's a real handyman. So literally, we've had families say, we need something built that we can do this, and whether it's machining or literally just the whole woodworking side, we just try to use our resources and our contacts and our relationships to see who we can help.
Well, and I tell families, sometimes as a nonprofit, you guys can get discounts and free shipping, tax-free, like things on an item that a family might need. We had a family that was doing a specialized like bed. And, when the parents reached out to them, it was still going to be $3,200.
Right.
But reaching out to a nonprofit that understood and they were willing to pay a portion, they were able to reach out to the company and talk about what their mission was and how they help families. And they were able to get it for wholesale, free shipping, tax exempt, things that a parent wouldn't be able to. So the more specific their need is, I always tell families, it's see what they can do. I mean, your board, I'm sure, is a lot of different industry, business, connections.
Yeah.
And so they can, Well, good.
Well, another thing that we've tried to become is a little bit of a resource for, and again, I hope that the listeners or viewers take this the right way. When you lose your child and you have all these medical supplies at your house, what do you do with them? And the one thing I say is you better never sell them and make money off of it, because you probably didn't pay for them. If insurance covered it, you have absolutely no business selling that on eBay or wherever you put that stuff out to. My goodness, pass it on to another family that could use it. And whether it's formula, Megan was on, I can't remember, it wasn't Insure, but for her feedings, right? It was cans of formula or whatever we would use. We'd go through cases of that. Whether it might be diapers, it might be feeding tube supplies. Literally, people will call us and say, hey, we lost our son or lost our daughter, and we're to that point now, we just want to get rid of all this. And I said, it's fine. There's local groups who can use that. and we've also just posted a few things out on Facebook or through smaller networking groups that we have within Facebook. And just let folks know that, hey, by the way, I have a family in, Troy, Michigan that has this available. If anybody knows anybody, here's their contact information. And let's give it about a week. And if somebody doesn't claim it, I'm going to recommend they donate it, somewhere. So again, I hate to, we're trying to help a family. That's a challenging time when you finally do lose your son or daughter. And I just, Teresa and I and the girls, we've been through this. We know what it's like. And sometimes it's the last thing you want to do is stare at the wheelchair that they were in for most of their life, or you want to rip that ramp out of your garage as quick as you can so you don't have to step in. But again, we made memories. We never allowed ourselves and mad or angry. We simply made memories, and not everybody's different, and every family manages these situations we're in differently. But I think, again, let's help each other out through these tough times, and sometimes taking something off their hands and maybe finding a family who can take advantage of it, a good thing as well.
Yep, I agree. Does anybody have a question for Tom or comment?
I had just had a question, but I think you've answered it. Since you're out of Indiana, you said Kentucky and Ohio. Is there just a region location that you guys will assist?
No, we've covered the whole U.S. I think we've
Okay.
actually supported some families now, and I need to look at that. That's a great question. Thank you. I think we're up to like 16 states. And I will say about a month ago, we had our first international request. And it literally was from like over in Iran or Iraq. It was in a war-torn area. And I'm like, wow, how did they ever find us? Right. And you really asked that question. And in their application where it said be specific and how did you learn about us, they didn't answer the question. So I didn't know how they found out about us. And I've been trying to communicate via email with them, but they don't respond to email quickly. Or again, I asked some pretty specific questions. And Tammy, back to what you and I talked before, we find out when a family is honestly trying to put the screws to us and take advantage of us. When you ask them specific questions and ask for documentation, a lot of times you'll never hear from them. And that's when you know that it was probably a scam. And that might have been, but I think we're 16 states now that we've helped. So no, it's cross country.
I just want to say, hey, thank you for taking the time to present with this. This was very beneficial and helpful. This is the first time that I've heard a provider give really in-depth information in regards to what they provide and how and the ins and outs. I've never written a grant, but I know wonderful people that do. She's a part of this phone call. But I also want to say, this is a really big side note. I was in Indianapolis the last 3 or 4 days for the Pittsburgh Colts game Monday night. And so that was, I love coming down to Indianapolis. So I just wanted to say that as well.
Anthony, I tell you, a young man turned for me a long time ago in hockey, and then I hired him full time. And then I left going to motorsports, and he got hired by the Colts, Greg Hilton. And he was their vice president of premium seat sales for 17 years. And every year, Greg would give me his 2 personal tickets to 2 different games that we could use in our annual fundraiser. And they're lower level, so they're $200 and some seats. You were at the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. Lucas Oil Stadium is gorgeous. But every year I would get that, and I'd get like the JW Marriott or the Conrad Hotel downtown would give me a night stay. So a couple could make it an overnight weekend getaway, including the Colts game, and stay at a beautiful hotel. I'd usually get St. Elmo's, our world famous steakhouse, to give a gift card. It was great. That thing would go for $1,500. It'd be awesome for our fundraiser. Greg passed away of cancer last year, and the Colts did an incredible job of honoring him the first game after the game last year. And his office at the Colts complex, they haven't touched it because, I mean, he had a daughter who had special needs, as did I. So he and I worked together 20 years ago, and just really kind of, we had a lot of similarities with our daughters and special needs. And again, man, I miss Greg because we don't have anybody giving us Colts tickets anymore.
Speaking of your fundraiser events, do you guys do them on social media that you could have people bidding on them from Ohio that weren't able to attend the event?
Yeah, so what we did, a couple of years ago, before COVID, I'm involved with a couple other motorsports charity events and the Sam Schmidt Paralysis Foundation, and they do the online bidding where everybody can do it on their phone. Got to put it on with the app. And so we looked into those because the board really wanted to do that. Because we have family and friends all over the country, right? And we thought we could pick up some support, maybe again on some unique auction items that way. But then when we looked into those services, they charge such a high percentage, or their upfront fee is minimum fee, and then you got to have a percentage on that as well. And we're not talking credit card processing. Well, like they take 7% or whatever the winning bid is. Oh, that's a lot, right? And some of them even had, again, an upfront fee where it was $500 up front and 5.5%. And I just have a problem with that. I'm trying to raise money and you're taking my money, so I have a problem with that. And so the board agreed, let's not do it. So what we've done, I call it silent auction, absentee bidding. We put on Facebook really the packages we think will be popular. And we literally say, message us. And I put out my cell phone number, my email me, text me, message me, tell me what your opening bid is. And let's just say the opening bid on that Colts package that Anthony talked about, say the opening bid's $400. So somebody will say, okay, I'll do the opening bid of $400, but my max is $1,000. And if the bid sheet, we put their name on first at $400, if somebody outbids it and there's $20 increments and it goes to $500, we're allowed to put $520 in their name down. If somebody goes $600, we put $620 in their name down. But if it goes over $1,000, we won't put their name down, right? They tell us what their max is, and we respect that. And I've got two brothers who just the night of the event volunteered to manage that for me, so I don't have to do it. And my brother Chuck, my brother Mark, they literally just kind of help us. And I give them my phone. I said, okay, if anybody texts me or email me, just keep checking my email, keep checking Facebook Messenger, just keep checking it. I just give them my phone for the night. And we've been able to, I call it poor man's absentee bidding, but it's worked for us. And it's really easy. And at the end of the night, you let them know that they won, and then you say, how can we make payment? And quite honestly, I just have them go into our website and they can type in any amount. We have them go to our website, put it in, and then I ship it out to them the following week, whatever they want. So again, I'd rather do it on the iPhone. Nah, I'm not going to spend the money. I'm too cheap. I want the money for families, not for some service provider. So
Yep.
we'll do poor man's absentee bidding.
I just want to speak up. Actually, my son was a recipient this year, so I want to thank you very much for.
You're welcome, Christine. Good to see you.
You definitely invited us to the very important family, but he was, or he is, I don't really know where he's at, but not available to go. Is that a one-time offer to participate?
No, we try to encourage families, Christine, that we've helped. And again, it's when you're only helping 20 families a year, then your invitation list is kind of small, and you know that most of them aren't going to be able to make it, but you can take care of 3 or 4. When you help 92 families so far this year, if we do that same invite to all 92 next year, what if we have 15 of them show up? I better have VIF sponsors to cover that cost. But no, we do. And so no, we'll try to encourage. And again, we know that somebody we do have one from New York that wants to come next summer, which is amazing. Horse therapy. We helped them with horse therapy for their son. He was so afraid of adults and animals, and some took him to this friend's farm, and the little guy just wanted to go see this horse out of the blue. And so then the owner of the horse, she does therapy. So she then, after about 3 more visits, put him on the horse. And this little guy who was terrified of adults, especially males, I don't know why, and horses, now he's sitting on a horse. Now he rides 3 days a week for 40 minutes, and he's laughing and he's giggling and he's communicating. He always now wants to go take care of the horse. So we brought him out of his shell a little bit, but no, Christine, we'll try to invite as many as we can again next year. And then I just challenge my board to go find the VIF sponsors to cover it. So we already have a room block of 12 rooms at the Hampton Inn off Interstate 65. It's about 5 minutes from where the golf course is, but it's also just 5 minutes where the Friday night reunion is. So no, you and I will stay in contact. We'd love to have you guys come join us next year if you can.
Well, thank you so much again for your support. We truly, truly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
everything you've
You're
done for
welcome.
us.
We find getting the families together is a good thing, Christine, right? And again, this 7 families there, or 8 families there, which is the most we've had. 4 more MPS families. Again, the Schmackers from Maria Stein, Ohio, the Reamers up in Michigan, Stillwell's, Nikki Stillwell and her son are actually in West Virginia now. They drove in from Huntington, West Virginia for it. And then we have a family from New Albany, Indiana, and one from St. Louis. But we have 5 families that have MPS, and we have 3 others that we've supported. And again, we've all just become a real close-knit family. And I will say for Anthony, nothing against you, but my wife makes sure we get a mom's picture. I don't know why we don't do a dad's picture then, but we've always done a mom's picture every year of the VIF family moms with my wife, because they have that bond, right? We have that close connection of all the crap dealt with over the years with our kids and trying to help them and take care of them. So again, I think it'll be good, Christine, if you could come just to meet some of these other parents. And maybe it's a different disease, but they're going through the same struggles that you are. And you just kind of become that when you need a little pick me up, or you know what, I'm not gonna lie, there's times you need to cry too, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm right there with you. And we have certain families that we know, 3 families that we've helped, and they all notified us here in the last month that their child's in hospice care. And when Teresa and I hear that, it tears our heart. Megan was in hospice care. We are at Riley Hospital, best in the world, love it. Support them a bunch. Every year we make sure we contribute to them. But Riley Hospital told us Megan had pneumonia 4 times in 5 weeks. We kept going in and out. We'd stay there for a week, nebulizer, breathing treatment. You get better, you go home. 2 days later, we'd be back in the hospital. I never knew I could drive about 100 miles an hour through downtown Indianapolis. It was amazing, really cool. But they told us, hey, we recommend you take her home. We think she has weeks to live. And that was on October 30th. And she lived until May 25th, 2012. She had a great, strong heart. So yeah, her organs were shutting down, but her heart was strong. And it was young. It was 12 years old, man. It was strong. So she actually battled, we said, until May. But the last 7 weeks, it was nothing but a morphine drip, no feed. And you know what? It was every hour go off, but if we felt she needed more, because we could tell by her cry, we'd hit that pump a few more times. But you know, it's okay to cry. And we encourage the families again. I think once you come, Christine, you meet some of these other ones, it's a great experience, because there are other families just like you that you can kind of become just a resource for, a buddy for.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Tom. Oh,
Yes.
so my son just bought me my first pair of golf clubs. I've never golfed before. They're sitting in the garage. I just got them about a week ago. I definitely would love to come down. Like when you start, sending out the advertisements and the requests or whatever, I'd love to come down to be a part of that.
Sure.
Do you have the date set for
I still got
July?
about, what's that?
Do you have
Tammy?
2023's date set for the golf outing?
I do. Let me look it up on my phone. Hold on one second. It's always the same weekend in July. So we lock into that. But Anthony, if you guys come down, I still got several friends that work out at the Colts. 5 guys that work for me in hockey all work at the Colts still. Greg's passed away, but we still have 5 other guys who work at the Colts still. So again, maybe he gets you out there to their practice facility for a tour. It's a beautiful place.
I would love that.
We are looking at July 14, 15. Friday night, July 14th, Saturday, the golf ending on the 15th. Again, we do have a hotel room block at the Hampton Inn right off Southport Road. It's 5 minutes from both places. It's less than 5 minutes from our house. Chick-fil-A, there's every restaurant possible, and a Meijer and a Target at the same exit. This is a wonderful exit to be at. So, and I will, another thing my wife has taken on is we're all about room drops. We love surprising families. Christine, I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag for you if you come, but we try to put together and purple. Everything we do is purple, but we put in purple rubber baskets. We buy at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Target, whoever has them. But we'll put together a case of water, maybe an 8-pack of Gatorade, and then we fill this basket up with snacks. And maybe the son or daughter that has the special needs can't enjoy the snacks, but if you got other kids, which all of our families do, all right, this is a family deal, right? It's not about one person. And you guys all know that. This is not about just the child who has the illness or disease. What about the siblings? And what about mom and dad and the grandparents, right? It affects a whole family. We know that. We went through it. And so we just try to put together goodies that every family should get excited about, whether it's bags of Cracker Jacks or M&Ms. Who doesn't love M&Ms? Who doesn't love Cracker Jacks? Whatever it might be, but we just fill these baskets up with all kinds of goodies. And then the hotel just takes wonderful care of our guests. They do have a pool at the hotel with the chair, which again, our families have taken advantage of. And so again, we just try to make that family feel really, really special for the weekend. And again, they're still dealing with all the crap they're dealing with, but they get a little bit of break in the action and hopefully enjoy the weekend with us.
Yep. Well,
But Anthony, we'd love to have you come down and play golf. And again, I will say we have all skills levels at our golf outing.
I would be happy to be the
We have all
lowest.
age groups too. We have a couple guys in their 80s that play with us. I think we do have a core group. You'll love these guys. Every year it's a different theme. They have a foursome, and last year was Hawaiian shirts. They wore Hawaiian shirts, and every time they got a birdie, they'd undo a button. It was about the night, and they're pretty good golfers. So like the 9th hole, they're totally unbuttoned with Hawaiian shirts on. But again, every year they get a theme. But we've got about 6 group of guys who have played in every one of our golf outings. 13 years we've been doing that. And they played in every golf outing.
All right. So how can I get your contact information?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat box so everybody has it.
All right. Thanks.
Good. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the recording session of this. So if anyone has questions afterwards, you can definitely ask about that. But thank you, Tom, so much for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity, Tammy.
I do want to let everyone know that my December charity is Operation Save the Lost, and they do provide tracking devices for children, GPS tracking devices for children that have autism. So I hope to see you guys on Wednesday, December 21st.